All right, what's up, everybody? We are live. Good to see everybody here. Thanks for joining, everybody. Today's a very special day. I got one of my good friends with us today. He's an America's Next Top Model. He's a social media influencer, model, actor, musician. He does it all. Mr. Don Benjamin is with us today. All right, there he is. And of course, we have Peyton. Just kidding. My one and only Peyton's with us, obviously, tonight as well. And tonight, we are going to get back in where we left off, the 7 steps to book national representation. Last time we did this, we were overwhelmed with questions, and we only got to the second step. So we're going to go through the full 7 steps of how to book national representation.
Well, maybe. That's only
Maybe.
if everybody doesn't ask us a ton of questions, which we want, though.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's a
Happy to
TBD.
see your face. Thanks for
But
joining.
I think we're going to try to get through at least 2.
We're going to try to get at least through 4 because we did 2.
We're going to get at least through 1.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into this. The first step, I'm going to go over the first step because we only went through 2. So the first step is photos. Make sure you have up-to-date test shots and digitals. Okay. So make sure before going into these appointments, as far as working with these agencies, make sure everything's updated. Make sure you have some up-to-date test shots and some digitals. Would you, when you go into an agency, do you bring editorial shots too?
When I go to an agency for representation?
Yeah.
So it's a tricky thing because you have to be very confident, I feel like, with the photos you're bringing in your portfolio, because if they're not good photos, it may look like you don't know how, like you're not a good model. You know what I mean?
I see. So it could work against you. Yeah.
So sometimes just going in with like your regular Polaroids, and you let them kind of decide if they can pair you with a good photographer, unless you know for a fact that your portfolio is good pictures, whether it's editorial photos or headshots. But you want those to be a good representation, because I've went into agencies before with bad photos, and they're looking at me like, you don't know how to model because the photos don't really show what you can really do.
Show your looks, right? Your potential. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already going down the rabbit hole here, but yeah. But we talked a lot last time about how, this whole industry is kind of like a strategy, coming down to even the photos you may bring into a potential agency that you're working with. But, with clients that we've worked with before, though, one thing that we've seen a lot of is that a lot of the agencies, especially some of the, more national agencies, will even do test shoots with somebody that they're, potentially deciding to work with. And that's primarily just for you to see what you look like on camera. So,
and that's why I feel like it's better sometimes than not even have professional photos. You let them do a test shoot for you.
Right. Exactly. Because remember, we spoke about this last time, is like even these agents are humans, and they're going to have like their own input in their minds as to what they think about your photos. So if you go in with just like, as blank canvas as possible, so digitals, then, let them kind of, brainstorm on what they may be able to do with you.
Yeah. If you're not teaming up with the right people to help you get good photos for your portfolio, and you're just trying to do it based off of what you think, a lot of times that's not a good idea.
All right. The second step, we actually hammered this a lot, so I don't want to go into it, but social media. Agents are going to ask for your social media info, making sure that your social media represents your brand and it looks professional as far as getting into the industry. We spent once we hit that topic, we literally had like a million questions, and that's why we ended. So I don't know. Should we just keep going, or should we ask any questions?
Let's do this, because I'm sure that everybody wants to ask Don, of all people, about social media. So let's do a couple of steps, and then maybe we can have.
Okay, deal. So who has a question for Mr. Don Benjamin about social media? Maybe social media marketing. Maybe how to represent yourself on your social media. Who has a question? Let's
Well,
take.
we were going to have them think about that and come back to it.
Oh,
But
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, social, you have to treat social media like a business regardless, you know what I mean? Because nowadays, if you're trying to be a model or an actor or a musician, anything in the entertainment industry, anything entrepreneur wise, you have to look at your social media account as your business portfolio in a way, you know what I mean? And there's different ways to go about it, but whenever you're posting, for the most part, you should think about what is this doing to benefit my business. Like if I'm posting, if I'm a fashion model and I'm trying to grow followers and I want to be an actor, when I'm posting, if I'm posting a fashion video, I'm like, okay, or if I'm gonna post something about a new outfit that I just got, am I gonna post me in that outfit with some random people that nobody really cares about? Or am I going to try to make this a fashionable video because I know Instagram promotes more videos and reels? So how can I make this outfit that I'm wearing a video? I'm thinking business wise with damn near everything I post. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep rolling on, Mr. Peyton, if that's okay with you.
yeah, I would prefer that actually.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So number three, what type of model are you going to be? Right. There are different types of modeling. Can you kind of touch into that, Mr. Peyton? Because I know that you're an expert in that as far as the different
Well,
types of model.
we keep hitting these points that we actually spoke so much about last time, but we did not cover this topic. And so, what type of model are you going to be? I think maybe the better way to format that question for yourself or that point to yourself is deciding, what areas of modeling like you're most interested in, but also being realistic. So we talked about last time. There's commercial print modeling, and then there's also high fashion modeling. So high fashion runway, that's that look that everybody thinks of when they think of a model. So, for a girl, usually that mean or a woman, that means you're at least 5'9", maybe 5'8.5", but we're pushing it a little bit there. So 5'9" plus. We also talked about that you can be too tall. So, once you hit 6 foot, that's probably the cutoff because they don't want you taller than, maybe the guys that are on the runway. But also, we spoke about why these sizes are so important. It's because a lot of these designers are the looks that you're wearing, it may be the only one. They maybe put it together right before the show, and so you have to fit that. For guys, you need to be at least 6 foot. I have seen some high fashion runway models that that are not like big names or whatever that have made it onto the runway at 5'11", but again, that's a case by case basis, and that's kind of rare. Commercial print, no size, height, or age requirement. You pop open any magazine or catalog, that's a commercial print model.
Okay. All right. So we have a quick question I want to get into. My sister was once told that she looked too much like a very famous Mexican singer, Thalia, and was turned down because of it. What's your opinion on that type of situation? Wow. Okay. Okay. Who wants to dig into that one?
I'll dig into it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So again, that's just going to come down to whoever your sister was speaking to. So if that was an agent, maybe that agent just didn't want to, deal with that because I guarantee you, if your sister does look just like that famous Mexican singer, she's going to hear it so much to certain types of castings that she goes to. She's going to hear it nonstop. But if you have a manager or an agent that maybe wants to look at that as an advantage and look for you work that, I don't know, maybe they need someone who looks like that singer. Maybe go that route. So again, it's a case by case thing. I've seen it where, there's two agencies at the same exact agent or two agents at the same agency that work together and they have completely different views on someone just based on the strategy and how much work they think that person may take them. So I think actually that that topic kind of goes into play with like someone who has maybe a lot of piercings or tattoos or something like that. You're not going to be a fit for every single job, but there's going to be jobs that you are a fit for, like a perfect fit for. You and your agent just have to be open to that. You're going to get some, you're not going to get others.
What do you think, Don? Have you ever been told, like, when you go in somewhere that you look like somebody? Who do you get?
Well, it's actually funny because I left my other agency, and I recently had an agency meeting, and the agency told me that they already have a guy on their roster that looks very similar to me, and so they told me that it wouldn't be fair to him, if they sign me on and start pushing me to brands just because of like who I am and my status, because they were like, he looks very similar to you. We're trying to help him grow. And so, yeah, that actually happened to me as well. Opposite story, I guess. And then, I've gotten times before where they're like, oh, you look like Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy or
Yeah.
Prison Bay. They're like, are you Prison Bay?
Oh, Peyton actually once got Ellen DeGeneres.
Not even. Yeah. If Josh's like 90-day fiance career doesn't work out, I guess he thinks he might be a comedian, but we know how that's gonna go.
That's hilarious.
Well, you never know. It could go both ways at this point. We'll see.
Yeah,
I always feel like the thing is, there's always gonna be somebody who looks similar to you for the most part. And I feel like there's always ways to work around it. In my mind, it's like, why not have us book a shoot together, a sibling shoot or something? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's always ways to work around it. But yeah, there's always going to be somebody that looks similar to somebody else. It's hard to not find that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just an excuse, and you got to kind of work past that.
All right. So the next question, let's go on to it. All right. Let's see here. Next one, number 4. We got through double what we got through the first time. That's good. Research and apply to the correct agencies that are working with your brand and with your typecast. Can you help us out with that, Don? Like, what does that mean? Like, as far as agencies, when you're researching agencies, are you looking at their boards? Are you looking at, like, what is this agency booking? Like, where are they heavy? Are they heavy in print? Are they heavy in, whatever it is? Like, is that something that you look into?
When I'm looking for an agency, yes, definitely. I want to try to find an agency that's going to cater to the work that I'm doing. Like, if I'm doing more high fashion work, or I'm trying to work with, some streetwear brands and high fashion brands, I'm not going to sign with an agency that mostly does fitness gigs. You know what I mean? It's not going to make sense for me because I know I'm not going to get much work. That's not their clientele, because a lot of agencies have different clientele. Like, there may be one agency that works more in the LA market, and so that's going to cater to me. I don't live in New York, so I'm not going to get as much work if I'm signed to an agency that's just New York. So yeah, you definitely want to pay attention to an agency and see what categories they're working more with. And as you take meetings, these are questions that you definitely want to ask. What are some of the brands that are your main clients? What demographic is your main clientele? And then again, like what happened with me, if you look at the agency model board, you can kind of see what models they have already signed to them. So you can see the type of models that are under them and see if anybody has your look, or if you're bringing a new look, especially with women. They can change their hairstyles, their hair colors. For men, it's a little bit trickier, but like as a woman, if I go to an agency and I see they don't have any redhead models, maybe I might try to change my hairstyle a little bit and approach them and be like, hey, I noticed you don't have this type of model. Would love to see if we can work together, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, definitely knowing the demographic and what they have is key.
Okay. Do you want to touch on that at all, Peyton? Did you have anything to add?
I mean, I agree. Like, I think that if you're, we've talked a little bit about our event, and Los Angeles. So when people come to our event, like you meet with all of the agencies, so you would already be at that kind of conversation where you're trying to determine, you know, what that agency works with, what they're comfortable with. We actually have one manager that always comes to our events, and you never ever know what that guy is going to be into because what he does with his clients is he actually, instead of waiting for a casting to come through, you know, with his roster of talent, he tries to even like build projects for them, which is kind of cool. It's not like a normal thing. So, but if you're approaching these agencies like on your own, yeah, definitely do the research. One, just to be familiar with the agency, but also, like Don said, to kind of be a little bit strategic. You know, you might want to go with an agency that kind of has your look and typecast, but at the same time, it might do you better if you go somewhere where you don't see yourself. So it can go both ways. This industry is not cookie cutter. Nothing is.
All right. All right. So let's take a quick question. Preview models. What city will you come to next? Well, we are going to go to Oklahoma City. Is that right, Peyton? Oklahoma City next weekend.
Well, yeah. So
okay, yeah,
if you want to audition for preview models and you want to see me or Josh, I don't know why you him in person, the next couple of ones that we have, off the top of my head, are Oklahoma City. I think we might have a city in Texas coming up soon. But the best thing that you could do is just message our preview models Instagram account, and they can kind of tell you where our live auditions are going. But we also rolled out last year virtual auditions. And so we started those last year, and we have one actually this Saturday. And I will be on that one too, which I'm normally not on those. So if you needed to see me again online, I would be there.
Don is going to audition for you on Saturday.
What did you say?
Don is going to audition for you on Saturday for preview models.
Let's go. I know just the casting director to send you to.
All right. Yeah. But no, for real, if this is something that you're really looking forward to, or looking to get into, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because there's a lot of free information, a lot of free intel about modeling industry. We have an agency that is actually we partner with that's on there that drops free information all the time. And then also, yeah, we have virtual auditions, and we are going to be hitting the road next weekend, Oklahoma. And then I believe we're going to Charleston and then Dallas. I don't know. They just send me the ticket and I go, right? All right. So let's get into this next. Let's see. Oh, let's get into the agency thing really quick, because I have a question for it. Do agencies find jobs for you, then you audition, or are these jobs secured by the agency? Or do they reach out to you when they're interested? Okay. So do the agencies find jobs for you? That is the general question. Yeah, that's what you're going to sign with an agency for so they represent you, so they can find you work that best suits your typecast, your look, and
sometimes they'll get you auditions. Sometimes the client may just direct book you strictly off of your photos, and if you have a portfolio of previous work, sometimes they'll just straight direct book you without even having an audition. But yes, it's the agency.
True story. How I met the season 19 winner of America's Next Top Model, Miss Laura James, who is our producer of the fashion shows, and she's one of our main model mentors. I did that exact thing, Don. I said, I looked at LA Models lookbook, and they said, who would you like to book? And I pointed at Laura James, and the rest is history. Now we're family.
The rest is
dig into that whole thing a little bit more, because you know we're supposed to be like educational here and provide things that maybe so like an agent, so explain how you might get a job via an agent. So sometimes the client directly books, so client being like,
so say for example, let's just say I'm with Wilhelmina Modeling Agency. Wilhelmina will hit me up and they can say, Friday you have an audition 11 a.m. to go and audition for a Ralph Lauren campaign. And so they'll send you out, you'll show up to the audition with your photos, and you'll do a walk for the client. And then if you get the job, they'll reach back out to your agency, tell them that they want to book you for the job. Or the second option is maybe Ralph Lauren reaches out to Wilhelmina and they're like, hey, we seen, Don Benjamin's portfolio. We'd love to book him for a shoot that we have next week. And then the agency will negotiate whatever the fee is for you to work, depending on your status and your expertise, then the rate will differ. But yeah, so it's usually the agency either has you audition for the Ralph Lauren's or the Tommy Hilfigers, or they just straight book you and have you come to work.
John,
And then just for the people here that are interested in acting as well and talent agencies, generally it works the same. However, more on you're going to go to an audition in front of a casting director instead of the client doing like a direct booking, unless it's, maybe for a print campaign or a commercial and maybe where they've worked with you before.
It's funny because I was actually literally just reading something from the director. I forgot. I think he did a ton of Marvel films, but he was talking about how even a lot of the A-list actors still have to audition for a lot of these roles just because they want to make sure that they're still right for the role. So with acting, you're pretty much auditioning for everything. Unless you have relations, then you may get some direct bookings once you become a really big actor. But if you're trying to become an actor, you're auditioning for pretty much every role because they want to just make sure that this character is right for you as an actor.
Right. I wanted to bring up a funny story really quick because we have a few minutes. But tell us about your guest story. The legendary guest story.
The legendary guest story. Does my camera look foggy? My bad. I'm like trying to. I think the light changed over here. Let me turn this light on real quick.
Well, tell us about your.
It was getting a little dark. Not sure if that helped or not, but so it's funny. I was living in LA about 7 years before doing Top Model, and I was on my grind. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a few of my buddies, and then I was living in this other apartment, and we all needed jobs. We weren't making money, so we all went down to like the restaurants and the clothing stores and was putting applications in, and we went to Guess. And I always loved Guess clothes. I could never really afford it, but I always loved it. And so all of my buddies got hired at Guess. My girlfriend at the time, she got hired. My cousin got hired. My best friend got hired. They all got hired. I did not get hired for whatever reason. I don't know, but I was pissed. And so I was like, okay, it's all good. And so when I went on America's Next Top Model, the winner of my season got a contract with Guess, funny enough. And so I'm like, yo, I got to win this show because I got to be the face of Guess. And I did not win the show. So that was my second time taking the L to Guess.
I voted for you.
Thank you, my boy. Thank you. And so funny thing is, after I left the show, I did not win, made it pretty far. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't watched my season yet. Cycle 20, go watch it. But when I got off the show, I signed to Wilhelmina Models, and they were asking me some of the clients or the brands that I love to work with, and I was like, I'd love to work with the Ralph Lauren's and the Tommy Hilfigers, and I love Guess. Like, I've always been a fan of Guess. And so I ended up booking a job, funny enough, with Guess, G by Guess, which is Guess. It's like a streetwear brand of Guess. And so I was like, yo, I'm finally modeling for Guess, but it's not quite Guess. And so I met the owner of Guess, Paul Marciano, super cool guy, and we got to talking. And I was like, man, you need a tattoo model to be the face of Guess. Like, I need the campaign. And a couple months down the road, I ended up finally getting my Guess campaign, posters all around the world, on buses, billboards, the front of stores. And, the workers that did not hire me at Guess, they had to look at my poster every day in their stores. So
full circle
of hustling and grinding to finally, it being even bigger than what I had imagined in the beginning. So just never give up on your grind, man. The Guess story.
The legendary guest
The
story.
legendary guest story.
Legendary guest story. I've been, you know what? You know how many years I've been listening to that story?
Have you bought any guests lately? Has it
I
inspired
haven't.
you?
I haven't bought any guests. I haven't bought any guests. But I
Damn.
don't. I don't really go to the mall much. Like I don't really shop or go places. I
You
mean,
only shop at
That's
Louis
a
Vuitton,
lie.
bro. No, Louis Vuitton. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go on to the next. We're on number. Oh wait, do I have any? Let's see. There are
We're ready
some
for the
audition
next.
questions. For that, I'm just gonna say follow us on Instagram to hear about the auditions that are coming up. They post links about the live or the virtual auditions, when they are, how to sign up, and then they also post, what cities we're going to, or check out previewmodels.com. I believe you can sign up for virtuals there. So I think they're going to post a link in the comments. All right, now let's go to number five. Number five, make sure you're applying in the right market. Where does your brand typecast have the most jobs? Okay. And to kind of dig into that, we're going to talk about, let's talk East Coast, West Coast. Let's talk Miami. Let's talk New York. How about that? New York. Let's talk New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. Let's talk about the differences between those types of models. Let's start with that. So, what would you say is mostly booking in LA right now?
I feel like LA is a lot of streetwear brands. The LA is doing a lot of like the Tilly's and PacSun,
Create luck.
create luck campaigns. Um, a lot
So
of
that
a
means
lot
that
of street
you're for
brands.
educational purposes. So that means that LA is a little bit more of a commercial
A
print
little
look,
bit more of a
more
commercial, yes.
editorial. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
More
Peyton,
commercial.
talk about the New York models.
Well, New York is the epicenter of fashion still. You think of New York and maybe Paris, obviously, when it comes to high fashion runway and high fashion editorial campaigns. And so that's where a lot of that work is. Even a model's like portfolio and, comp card is going to look completely different in the New York market versus the LA market.
And how about Miami? What's the Miami vibe, Don?
Miami is very fitness swimwear. They have swim week in Miami. Um,
Curves.
Curves. But yeah, the Miami is definitely more about sex appeal and body, more so than like I feel like selling the clothes per se. If that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
more about the model. Like in LA and New York, it's more about selling the clothes. Like you may have layers, you may have some jackets and hats and sweaters and hoodies, and in Miami, it's minimal clothing, so your body better be on point.
Yes. All right. And then also there's a lot of different commercial markets too that people don't recognize. Chicago is a huge one. Chicago does a
Yeah.
lot of commercial print.
A lot of film too in
Yep.
Chicago. A lot of commercial print film in Chicago.
Yeah. And then what's Dallas look like, Peyton? What's the Dallas market like?
So Dallas market's going to be pretty commercial also. So you'll see, a lot of times when you go to Ulta or Sephora and you swipe your card at the debit card machine, like a lot of times, like those jobs were casted out of Dallas. Around the world, there's army bases, there's military bases, and they have like a special army store or whatever on the bases. And believe it or not, it's like a big client, and they do all of their catalog work, all their like website editorial spreads or whatever out of Dallas. Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom does a lot of work out of Dallas. So a lot of that kind of stuff goes through
Okay.
there. There's actually
And
some really good agencies that do some really, really good work out of Dallas. I think you had a client once that moved to Dallas, right, Josh?
yeah, actually, yeah. One of my girls, shout out to Taylor Johnson. She was we found her in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Sioux Falls. She wasn't even auditioning. But like her brother was. And we found her. We was like, dude, you got to do this. You got to get in. And she got signed. Then she was signed in LA. She was signed in Dallas, and she was signed in Chicago. And she worked more than anybody I know. She was in like all the JC Penney catalogs, like all the time. I mean, Huge career from that. That was great. Great stuff. Can you be like you can be a versatile model and get signed in numerous areas as well. You know, you can be signed in LA, you can be signed in New York and Chicago. You can have a bunch of
Yeah.
different agencies and work in different
The
markets.
key is to be signed in different markets. I mean, if when you really start working, you want to be my daughter. Hi.
Zaya made an appearance.
Zaya's trying to when you're come here. When you're really doing your thing, you want to be signed in different markets. You want to try to be in Chicago and LA and New York, and you want to be in. Say what's up. I just got my daughter.
Zaya joined the
My daughter
live. Hi, Zaya.
models. She just shot for Zara last week, so
She's a signed model.
she's the face of Zara right now. Actually,
She booked
say
the campaign.
hi.
Hi.
So you could even have your kids modeling. Like they have agencies for kids. So she did Zara, she did Walmart last month. But you want to be in different markets. You want to be in LA and Chicago. Babe, will you take Zaya? Hey, say, Mama, come get me. Hey, we trying to do business.
But Zaya is signed with LA Models, right? Right?
So Zaya's with LA Models. Yeah, Zaya's out here working, man. She booked and busy. What are you doing? She's booked and busy. Go find your mama. Go find your mama.
So, you know, being signed in multiple markets or whatever, we talked about that last time. Y'all should go watch that video if y'all weren't here. But one of these next questions kind of plays into that a little bit. The question is it better for your mother agency to be local, or does it matter if the mother agency is in a different state? So first off, like, it's not always 100% necessary for you to even have a mother agency. What I think we might have had a video that came out on YouTube, or It's About Too Soon by Luke, and he goes deep into exactly what a mother agency is. But like the general explanation of that is it's, you know, an agent that maybe, or an agency that spends a little bit more time with you. Maybe they developed you and they kind of like oversee your entire modeling career a little bit, and they kind of help you get into other markets. So the question is it better for the mother agency to be local, or does it matter if it's in a different state? It really doesn't matter. But I mean, that's almost with like any agency. It doesn't really matter where your agency is, but just be aware that when that agency starts getting you work, that work is probably going to be in the area that agent is in. So you may have to go back to that area or whatever at some point.
Right. All right, let's get into this question really quick about agencies. Okay, location. What about Las Vegas? Has it kind of fizzled out? I feel like Las Vegas is more of a local market. It's like kind of what's happening within Las Vegas. That's
only thing I'm modeling in Vegas is the roulette wheel.
Yeah, I know you. All right. No, but yeah, I think that's more of a local market that's kind of coming out of Vegas. I don't really see anything nationally booked from Vegas. What do you think?
I haven't.
You know what Vegas does a lot of is I don't know if they're still doing it, but what was that site, Zappos or something? It's like a
yeah. Mm-hmm.
They do
commercial
the
print,
online shoe store.
for
like e-com and commercial print with them.
Okay. Yeah.
They used to fly me in a lot to shoot with them.
But, yeah, I think that's great, but that's more of like if you're a name. If you're a name,
point out what you just said though. They flew you to Las Vegas to do it, so that means
they have local talent as well. Over they had some local talent as well, but I don't know. Like, I'm not hearing about a lot of work in Vegas. Like
so with preview models, when we go out and we do auditions in person, if you kind of look back through all the cities that we've been to, you'll notice that we really don't go to major like entertainment and fashion hubs. So LA, New York, Chicago. And the reason for that is because I say it all the time, talent doesn't come from those places, it goes there. So generally we're going to cities that we consider like regional markets to find talent to bring to the larger markets. And so with that being said, Las Vegas is one of those cities that we actually do an audition in. So I wouldn't really consider it a major hub or ever have been. So I don't think it even had a moment to fizzle out.
I think the Las Vegas audition is in April, if I'm not mistaken. Don, you got to come on the Vegas auditions.
I'll be there.
All right, there you go.
All right. All right. So let's get into this. Right. I'm going to go into number 6. Be personable and easy to work with. Well, Peyton would definitely fail at this one. I'm going to tell you what. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Be personable and easy to work with when meeting with these agencies. Kind of touch on that a little bit, Peyton.
So, I mean, I think that this just goes with like anything in life, and that's just like be a good person and like try to be prepared, especially if you're going into something from a business perspective. We talked about this last time too. A lot of, aspiring models, aspiring actors, people wanting to get into entertainment, they get confused with the emotion of this industry because it's weird. The industry, is a business and it's an industry, but at the same time, you're like a person with emotions and feelings and you're the product. And so when that happens, you forget kind of like the black and white nature of how business goes. So be prepared. If you were going to go on a job interview with, whatever company that you work with now or have in the past, you probably prepared for that. If not, you maybe should the next time you do it. But, you prepare before you go into these meetings. You're serious about your career. And that is something that like really like turns up the dial on an agency's interest in you. Like I have seen models come to our event in Los Angeles and go through the whole process, do agency meetings. Like we make sure that you're like 150% prepared for these agencies and then go back to their regional markets, even maybe a Dallas or a Las Vegas or whatever. And then they may get an interview or, a go-see with an agent in that regional market. And 90% of the time they get a great response because the agencies in those regional markets are not used to seeing somebody that prepared and that professional. So just be prepared. It's important. Yeah.
Be prepared.
And also, I think tapping in on like being personable and being a good person, like a lot of, even myself, like I've booked so many jobs and continue to work with brands just based off of like bringing good energy to the auditions or the photo shoot, because just think about it, like you want to be around somebody all day that actually has good energy that you like. You don't want to be around somebody that's complaining and negative. And it's a small industry and people talk. And so if you go to a photo shoot one day for Calvin Klein and you're complaining and you're negative and you're like, oh my God, it's taking forever, I'm hungry, blah, 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 it's cold in here, like they're not going to want to have you back again. But if you come and you got good energy and you're nice and you're kind and whatever, they're going to, when they have another campaign, they're going to be like, oh yeah, so-and-so was great to work with. I had such an amazing time. Let's bring them back. And then a lot of times these photographers and videographers that work with, say, a Calvin Klein or somebody, they work with multiple brands. So yeah, you may be shooting Calvin Klein today, but you did a good job and you had good energy and you were a good person at that shoot. The photographer may be working with Ralph Lauren next week, and they can be seeing the casting breakdown and see your picture and be like, oh, yo, I loved working with them. I worked with them last week with Calvin Klein. They were a dope person. And now, boom, because you're being a good person, you're getting yourself in other rooms and other opportunities just based off of your energy. So I always tell people, like, don't be negative. Try not to complain. Try to be high spirited. And same with auditions. When you go into an audition, like, there's a difference between being confident and believing in yourself and being cocky and arrogant. And nobody wants to deal with the cocky, arrogant person like Peyton. You know what I mean? This guy is so they all want to deal with the confident, nice guys like Josh. You know what I mean? We all want to be with Josh. It's
actually true. That's why I end up having so much work to do because he's been way too nice to too many people. So luckily, I'm not trying to get in front of the camera though.
Oh,
So
is that a
it's like,
compliment? Are you giving me a compliment?
that's probably as close as a compliment as you're ever going to get from
Oh
me.
my god! And you know what? It's recorded. I mean, I might just take that little clip and post it on my
Yeah.
Instagram.
I got the editors on speed dial though, so one wrong move and it's out of there.
Oh wow! Well, Peyton, thanks for the compliment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt like Don, you're just speaking right to me, like speaking to my soul. That's what I feel like. That's funny. One time, well, me and Peyton, I can't talk about it actually, but me and Peyton are working on a very big project.
Yeah, you cannot talk about that.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's a very big project.
Yeah.
Tell us, please.
And it's very big, huge, and basically, like, I went into this place I shouldn't have even been in. Like I was sticking out, and I just went because it was one of my friends, and I had my sunglasses on. It was like nighttime. Sometimes I do that, anyways. And like people were just kind of like gravitating towards me. It was the weirdest thing. And Peyton is like, I don't know what's going on here. All of a sudden, you're Mr. Personality, and everybody wants to talk to you. And then we met our now partner. I could say that. And something like huge came from it, and it was just by being personable.
Well, yes. But if you're
Well,
gonna,
yes.
luckily I know the rules of what we can say and not.
He gave me
say
too
on
many
this project.
compliments.
Well,
He gave me too many compliments. He has to start shutting me down a little bit.
I know the rules of what we can and cannot say in regard to this particular project. So I can say that the place where we were at, where Josh, was miraculously noticed by everybody, was a financial conference. So if that guy walks into a financial conference, do you think people are going to
notice?
Talk to him?
People
Probably.
take
So it wasn't
notice.
the
That's what happens.
personality.
I
I was
in
actually being
and
nice that night, so that's what it was.
Oh, my
Anyway, moving
goodness.
along.
All right. Let's get into the last point. Let's see. You guys are funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm trying to get Peyton to be a little funny too.
We all know who they
yeah.
really think the comedian
This
is.
guy Peyton is hilarious.
Exactly. See?
No, he was giving me too much credit. He had to give you a little bit. All right. No, he is funny, and he is amazing. I do love him. He's great. He does a lot. All right. There we go. Number 7, seventh key point is health. All right. This is a big one. Be healthy, right? Diet, exercise, skincare, sleep, like things that are going to not saying like lose weight or like become crazy, but like be your best you. Like, eating healthy, like going to bed on time, cutting out certain things that you don't need, maybe alcohol, whatever that is. Really working on your diet, your fitness, and your sleep. This is huge, right? I mean, when we were much younger, Don, we'd show up and we'd just roll out of bed, like
I did a lot of preview model talkings, very hungover.
Yeah, and we were not healthy.
Very
We were
unhealthy.
we were very unhealthy. And I think that now you are a much more successful model. Like you have major brands. You're doing something for Jackson. You're doing something for. I just saw something the other day that you did. Not Jackson, but what was the other big one that you went to the convention?
Oh yeah, the bucked up energy.
Yeah. I mean, so now like you're like, I think much more of
I just did a Lincoln commercial. Was pretty dope.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Talk about health. Talk about like what it means to you and your family.
It's crazy because it's funny because I used to be very unhealthy, man. I used to eat a lot of junk food, and I love sugar and sweets, and I used to drink a lot. I'm 4 years sober now. We try to be very healthy, and you see a difference with your energy, with your way of life. And it's like you said, like it shows up if you're trying to be a model especially modeling is all about how you look. You know what I mean? With actor, if you want to be an actor or a musician, you can look messed up and still make it. But with modeling, you have to look good. Your skin has to look good. Your body has to be on point. Your hair, like it's about physical attributes in modeling. You know what I mean? And so if you're trying to be in the modeling world, you have to take care of yourself. And what you're putting in your body a lot of times shows on the outside, whether it's your stomach, your skin might look crazy, you know. So yeah, if you're trying to be in the entertainment, and then also you're working long hours, you know what I mean? Like a lot of shoots are 8, 10 hours, 12-hour days. So you have to be able to maintain these. And if you're eating bad, you're not sleeping, you're turning up all night, and then you're getting up the next day trying to shoot, like you're not going to be able to sustain this lifestyle, and it's going to wear you down. That's why you see so many people in the entertainment industry, unfortunately, where they have like mental breakdowns or they get sick, and you see people end up in the hospital because they're not really taking care of themselves. And you know, I've done it, you know, like I did a lot of damage to my body, and then I woke up one day and was like, damn, like my stomach is not where it needs to be, and my whatever, like things just aren't working. So this is one thing that's funny, because people are always like, what would you tell your younger self if you can give advice to you, like your 20-year-old self? And that's definitely one of the things, is like focus more on health and wellness. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot more information out in the world right now to be healthy than there was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And take advantage of, you know, nutrition and all of these things that you can do, because it definitely will help your longevity in the entertainment and entrepreneur industry. It's a very
Absolutely.
stressful industry. You have to make sure your mental health is on point. Like you have to be meditating and really like intaking positivity, because people just think like you become a model and you start getting hella money, or you become an actor or a musician and you're famous and you're rich. But there's so much that goes into it. There's so many no's. I still hear no every day trying to reach new things in my life. And I have to always remind myself, like, am I good enough or am I capable? So alongside of just your physical being, you have to take care of your mental health, because the industry will tear you apart if you are not strong enough mentally. So, I mean, we can run on this topic.
Yeah, this one's a big one. Yeah, I tell Peyton that all the time. I've been trying to get him, to work out. I've been trying to get him to eat good and use like skin stuff. But he's just a caveman, so it's real tough, and it's been my uphill battle with Peyton.
Yeah, he still thinks he's a great actor. Nobody believes that. Nobody believed that at all. There was actually a day. Actually, it's a long time ago. I thought it was only a couple weeks ago, but it's been more like, let's say, 6 months. And Josh called me, which he does like 8 times a day. It's great. And anyway, he called me.
You're a lucky
and
guy.
he said, "Oh my gosh, I've been getting so much done today. I'm clear. I'm having like visions of what we need to do. Everything is just like perfect or whatever." And all it was is that he actually went to bed the night before. He got like 10 hours of sleep, which is probably the most amount of sleep that he's ever had in one bath. And probably,
I'm a busy man.
You sure it's not all the ice baths that he's taking?
I take a lot of ice baths. I'm a busy guy. What can I say?
Yeah, he thinks that those are gonna fix the lack of sleep, but it doesn't. There's a thing that we were touching on a little bit, and I think someone in the chat was like, "Oh, my husband owns a whiskey bar. Drinking's not hard." Great. Well, moderation is key. Yeah, so you don't have to be an extremist, but moderation is key. So.
Yeah, and we wish you success on the whiskey bar. Good luck.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like everybody, like there's some people that can drink like a fucking, excuse my language, they can drink like a mule and be just fine. And like you see people that live to be like 90 years old and they're like, I drank a tequila every day my entire life. And then there's some people that can't hang. I think ultimately it's doing what you got to do for yourself and being aware of and like you said, balance. Like, you don't got to turn up. Like if you have a drink here and there, like it's not the end of the world, but it's about balance and what's good for you. Because it's funny, like when I stopped drinking, I didn't realize how much like people drink with everything, bro. Like morning, we going to have a little, you know what I'm saying? Have a little sip of something. Evening, we have wine with dinner. And you step out, you have a cocktail. And it's like, you don't realize it until you try to step away from something that may not be the best for you, how frequently you do it, because it's just second nature. And that's what diet, that's what working out, that's what, everything. Like, we don't realize we get stuck in like a daily habit of things that aren't really usually the best for us. But because everybody around us is doing it, we're just like, I'm gonna do it too, whatever. You know what I mean? Or I've been doing it for years. I'm gonna just keep it rocking, not realizing that it's not really benefiting what you need to do for yourself.
Right, right. So we got through the 7 steps. We did it. We did it. We got through all 7 steps of how to book national representation. All right. I'm just going to go over them real quick.
Well,
Photos.
hold on before you go over them. So on this live stream, we have it slated for about like 10 minutes more. So if you do have any questions, even out for the industry, whatever, even outside of those 7 steps, you better throw them in the chat now. Because after Josh goes through this, then we're going to kind of do our little closing moments, unless y'all have something that you want to.
Yeah, if there's a couple questions, we'll take them right now. If anything that you have for Don, or anything that you have for Peyton, what type of what's his hair product or whatever, that's fine. But the 7 steps I do want to go over, so you do have them. 7 steps to book national representation. Number one, we went over photos. Make sure that you have up-to-date test shots and digitals. Number 2, social media. Make sure that your social media represents your brand and it looks professional. All right. Number 3, what type of model are you going to be? Commercial print, runway, commercial beauty, right? So many different types of modeling that you can get into. Research and apply to the correct agencies that are working with your brand and your typecast. That's number 4. Number 5, make sure you're applying in the right market. We went over those markets, different markets: Los Angeles, Dallas, New York, Chicago, Miami. We went over those. Okay. Number 6, be personable and easy to work with, Peyton. And number 7 is health, exercise, skincare, sleep, doing what's best for your body. Okay, that is the 7 steps to national representation. We went through it. We did it. Peyton, can you believe it?
I can believe it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Let me hang in. Okay. All right, let's go. Quick question here. What if you have a medical setback? I have narcolepsy, super mild case, but tend to need rest between 3 and 4. I do that too. I take naps. Actually, I take a nap.
I may have narcolepsy too, because I need my sleep too.
I do a nap about 2. I can nap for 1 minute and it feel refreshed, but it has to happen or it'll mess me up. I say, take the nap. Take the nap. Schedule that nap. If that's what's going to make you feel amazing, schedule that out in your daily plan.
Listen, when you on set, I done took some naps on set before. I'm like, look, I'll step away, get like a quick 10-minute power nap in, and be right back to business.
Yes. Yeah. That's for real. Take that nap. I mean, I've been taking a lot of naps. I've been, obviously you guys can tell I've been in the gym, like doing 2-a-days. I know. But I got to take naps. I got to rest my body.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of, in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of different health people that have different health issues. And, if you book a job, even with the brand, like, you can let them know, like, hey, I have this disorder or whatever it is, and they're going to work with you, and your agencies and whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of people that are working that have all kinds of different health issues, unfortunately, but business is business. So as long as you're communicating what it is, they can work with you.
Schedule that nap. I would say put it in that that schedule. All right. Another question. What's the difference between an exclusive and a non-exclusive contract? That's a great question. Great question.
And that's an exclusive, and there's exclusive and non-exclusive contracts with agencies, and then there's exclusive and non-exclusive contracts for if you're, maybe a like a face of a brand also.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like, I may have an exclusive contract with a beverage brand, right? Where they're like, okay, you can't work with any other energy drinks while you're working with us. Or if it's a non-exclusive contract with that brand where they're like, look, you can work with us, but you can also go and promote Red Bull if you need to get paid. And then same with agencies. if you're in an exclusive contract with an agency, any work opportunity that comes through has to be negotiated through them, and they have to get a cut off of the deal. But if you're in a non-exclusive contract, then say I go get my own job with Nike that my agency didn't bring in, then my agency doesn't get their percentage from that job. So that's non-exclusive, if that makes
Great.
sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I think that we answered that question fully for sure. And you guys check out the YouTube channel. Also, Luke, who's with Ophelia Model Management, actually represents Mr. Don Benjamin. And he gives a some information about that topic. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and check it out. For acting, March show, VIP. Should I show up with a monologue prepared? Absolutely. I think you should definitely have a monologue prepared. You should have, I mean, if that's something that you're getting into, you should have a few monologues prepared that show like the range of an actor. Like how, I mean, can you do mad? Can you do happy or whatever? Have a few prepared that will show the range of your acting ability. That's what I would say. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, that comes down again to like we spoke about already, being prepared and being easy to work with. So at the event in Los Angeles, you'll have a meet and greet with all of the agents, a one-on-one meeting with every single agency that is at our event. A lot of times, especially with the acting agencies, they'll ask like, do you have any material that you can show us, or they'll want to see it in that moment, or they'll want you to like later on that day or maybe even the next day record yourself doing that material and then send it over to them. So fun little tip that I actually just learned recently when we were in Nashville is one of our friends is an actor, John Ecker. Y'all have seen him around probably on Hallmark and some other shows. Anyway, there's a new union rule that at the bottom of the sides that they send you, so they send you sides and there's like lines on them for you to use during like a acting audition. The union is requiring that all of these, casting directors on their sides down at the bottom put a little clause in there that says that you don't have to have, this material memorized or whatever. Like they have to explicitly say it now to.
I was wondering why I was getting that. So
yeah. So there's a new thing, and that I don't care what I say on here, but it's like to make people feel more comfortable, whatever. And so they put that there. So having material prepared, memorizing your material, and being able to present it from a memorized point is going to definitely, if it's not already, going to be a little bit of a hack, because people are going to get lazy because they don't think that they're going to have to memorize anymore. And so casting directors are going to see a ton of people that are not off book, they're not memorized. And so just having that is going to give you a little bit of advantage.
So they had to, that's a new thing where they had to say that.
That is a new like union rule for when you go on, these union job auditions, that the casting directors or whoever's facilitating the audition has to have that clause at the bottom of every page of
That's
the
crazy.
side.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on all my sides, and I'm like, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an actor, be off book and have your lines memorized. Don't be reading off the paper unless you like literally get your sides the day of, and it's like a quick turnaround, and you absolutely can't memorize. But be off book as much as you can if you're trying to act. It definitely gets you farther. And that's coming from somebody who produced a movie and casted actors for my movie, rather than just being an actor, like watching people's tapes. You definitely are more than 9 times out of 10 going to book the actor that's off book.
Yeah. Tips for virtual auditions. Yes, I got them. Watch this video back. The 7 steps, it's the same thing, these 7 steps that we're kind of going over, bring that into these virtual auditions. That's what I would rewatch this because it's going to help you with all your entertainment auditions. So that's why we did this. Okay. So that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Mr. Don Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you always, my brother, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for
in
having me, and I
Hollywood.
will see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Create luck.
Create luck. Don and I
About to
have
get
some
that
new
new
merch
drop.
coming out. Peyton's super excited about it. And make sure that you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. Don has some really funny videos. Him and his wife, his family do a lot of stuff. Make sure you check out their social medias. Don, Leanne, and Zaya, Peyton. Thanks for being here tonight, man. I appreciate you. I love you. You know that. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so make sure you follow the Preview Models channel as well. It's going to show you where we're coming up. Maybe we'll be in your city. Come say hi. And also when the auditions are actually happening. So that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. And we will see you soon. We're going to probably come back. I think we have a date scheduled, right, Peyton? Don't we?
We do not, but we will get one on the books.
We do not, but we will get one on the books, and we will let you know when that is. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining.
See ya.